So Kong Skull Island is the second film in Legendary's Monster Cinematic Universe, and is directed by John Voight Goodman, and it also stars Tom Hiddleston, Brie Larson, Samuel L. Jackson, John Goodman, and John C. Reilly. So, is this film any good? Does Kong reign supreme, or is it a bit of a mess? For me, it's a mix between the two. So, let's just go have a brief outline of the plot of the film. The film takes place in 1973, so several years before the Godzilla film, and basically follows this expedition that is sent to go explore this island and see what's there. And the expedition is infiltrated by a monarch. Yes, they're doing tie-ins to the universe. Isn't that amazing? And one of the shots of the film is a monarch briefcase, so you could know if this is monarch are in this film. And basically, these characters stumble around this island, and Kong is there battling other creatures and the humans as well. But unfortunately, looking at what Roberts has done, who directed this film, this is his first big blockbuster film, and unfortunately you can tell this is his first big blockbuster film. There's a few parts of this film where I was sat there and I was a bit confused with certain things, which I'll explain later. But first, let's go into the characters of this film. So, the lead is Tom Hiddleston, and unfortunately in this film, Tom Hiddleston's character is horrendous. There is no character development at all. His character is very shallow. He is basically just this SAS badass who can track and is sort of awesome. And unfortunately for Tom Hiddleston, it's a poor performance for me. It's a bit wooden, and that might just be the script or the character itself, and he didn't have much to work with. But the only real character development his character has is basically, he mentioned something about his dad going to World War II and giving him his lighter, and that's basically it. So sadly, it's not a good one for Tom here. Hopefully he can make it up in for Ragnarok. The next character is Brie Larson, who plays a photographer, and again, there's just no character development with this girl. Unfortunately, Brie Larson is a very talented woman, really talented, and unfortunately she couldn't even find the right performance for this character because there's nothing to work with. Unfortunately, she is basically just someone who goes to the island and takes photos, just taking photos, and that's it. That's all her character does. And there is a scene between her and Tom Hiddleston's character that basically just sums up what it is. It's just basically this. So, you're a photographer? Yes, so you're ex-SAS, are you? And that's it. And you think, well, we can see what's going on here. Another negative character, John Goodman. He just seemed really out of place in this film, and I don't really know what he was doing there, in a way. He basically was just in the film most of the time, just doing this, just going, oh. It was really weird. There is a backstory into that he had a close encounter with Godzilla, and that's all I'll say. Go watch the film. And I don't know, he just felt out of place for me in this film. And I do know originally in the production of this film they had Michael Keaton and J.K. Simmons. I don't know if one of those two was going to play this character, but I would have just felt a J.K. Simmons may have been a bit better than a John Goodman. Nothing against John Goodman, I really like him, but for me he just felt really out of place in this film. Let's go on to some positives with characters, because it's not all bad. There are two characters in this film which are quite good. The first one being Samuel L. Jackson. Well, it's Samuel L. Jackson. He always puts his best effort into most films, so you can tell again he's not got much to work with, but you can see him really putting a good performance in. There's a scene with him and Kong, which is brilliant. There's a great stare down between the two of them, and you can tell Jackson's character is pissed at Kong because he's killed a load of his men. You just think, oh, there's a vendetta here, and it's going to come back later in the film. But you can tell his character is very scarred from the Vietnam War, and this is one where he this is a mission. He wants to succeed and wants to get vengeance and win. And, well, no, I'll leave it. I think most of you know that most of the characters in this film are expendable anyway. So moving on to John C. Reilly's character, for me, is the best character in this film. He's got a good background, a former World War II pilot who crash landed on the island in, was it 1944, 1943? I'm not too sure, but he's been there for 28 years, and he's basically just been surviving. And they do go into a bit of his background, that before he went off to fly in the war, that he just got married and that his wife was pregnant, just become pregnant the day before he was shot down. And he's been stuck there for 28 years, and he has been thinking, well, I just want to go back and just see my family one last time. It doesn't matter if my wife's remarried. I just want to see my son grown up, and I want to go see my wife. And he was one of the characters I was just like, if you die, I'll be pissed. I want you to get off this island. I want you to go have that encounter. And then, apart from that, all the rest of the characters are there just to die, be eaten, or be stabbed, or whatever. They are just there as fodder for all the creatures on Skull Island, and unfortunately, it is very disappointing. There's just all these characters dying, and I'm just like, well, that won't be missed, really. And that's unfortunate, because it is the same mistakes they made with Godzilla, and Legendary need to make sure this doesn't happen again. They need to make sure the next film in this cinematic universe gets some goddamn well-developed human characters, please, because I would feel a bit more emotional if those characters die. So, Kong and the other monsters in this film. Well, Kong, I like this Kong. I think it was a good improvement on what Peter Jackson did, and I really loved that version of the character, well, monster. In this one, though, as I did just now say, I did like it, but he was revealed way too early in the film. In basically the first 5 minutes, you see him, and it ruined the impact and the mysteriousness of the character, and I sort of sat there thinking, damn. Even though I had seen him in the trailers and that, when you go to the cinema and you sort of see a film like this, you want to see that character have a really impressive entrance. This one, it wasn't. It really wasn't, and I was very frustrated sat there watching it and seeing that happen. Because the second time you see him, during the helicopter attack scene, it's amazing, and that would have been such a better introduction to the character. And you sort of see him run around the island doing stuff, sort of maintenance, dealing with these skull crawler things, or whatever they are. And that time brings us on nicely to them, the skull crawlers. They're hardly in the film. They feature probably about screen time of 15 minutes. And they're just there to cause trouble and havoc, and they're just annoying. It was like the Mutos in Godzilla. At least the Mutos in Godzilla, they sort of had this purpose. They wanted to reunite, they wanted to mate and everything. In this one, they're just like, they just go around killing people, and they're the dicks of the island. And that's not very good. If there was more of a purpose to them, I would have been more interested by them as well. There are some other things in this film. There's like a spider baboon thing that looks like bamboo legs, and that was weird. What else was in there? There was like this weird horn thing that came out of a lake, and it looked like a buffalo type thing. And yeah, if you know what it was, please comment down below, and I will actually learn what that was. As I said, there was like these bird things as well. Samuel L. Jackson's character shot one in the head, and they all flew off and went crazy. There was quite a funny death scene where those birds appear. They like pick this guy off this boat that the character's driving on. They sort of pull him off, and they rip him apart in the sky. But the way it was shot just made it kind of funny. I know it sounds very morbid, but I sort of sat there just thinking, brilliant. Apart from that, there weren't many sort of other creatures there. John C. Reilly's character mentions there's like ants or something, like giant ants, and I thought, oh, could be interesting. But you never see them. They're just mentioned. and I was a bit disappointed they didn't come into play, but oh well. So the visuals and effects, the cutting in this film was really poor, because as I said with the plot, it just jumps around, and some of the cutting is it's really random. There's a scene with Chapman's character after he's just seen Kong, and there's like this dramatic music playing, and then suddenly it just goes into another scene somewhere. You just think, was there something else that was going to happen, or no? It's a shame. But the CGI it's okay in places. Some of the Kong CGI is good. The Skullcrawler CGI is poor, unfortunately. There's a scene with like this bamboo spider thing, which again, it's really bad, and it does show, unfortunately. At least with some of the Godzilla CGI, it wasn't too bad. It was slightly believable, but in this film, it doesn't blend or mesh very well. But I do have to praise the Vietnam feel for this film, obviously because it's in the 70s, the Vietnam War and that, but some of the shots in it are brilliant. The shot from the trailer we see of Kong rising, and there's the sun and the helicopters flying towards him. It is brilliant. Some of that visual style there is brilliant, and I did really love it. And sort of seeing them wander around the island as well, it sort of had that Vietnam feel. You're sort of thinking, that's how they did it in the Nam. So sadly for me, this is, to summarise this film, it's good in points, but it hasn't really learnt the lessons from Godzilla. It sort of went the opposite. In Godzilla, people moaned about the underdeveloped characters and not seeing enough Godzilla. In this film, we still have very underdeveloped characters, but unfortunately we have too much Kong. That's the problem in this film. Sadly, Kong appears in like random segments, and I was again sat there thinking, but it isn't a terrible film. It's a good popcorn film to sit down and watch, and hopefully Legendary will take on board what the sort of the reviews of people, fans, and get it right, because obviously the next film coming up is Godzilla King of the Monsters, and they need to make sure they get it right. Also, is there a post-credit scene just like Marvel? Yes, there is a post-credit scene involving Tom Hiddleston's character and Brie Larson's, where they're being debriefed by Monarch. And I won't say any more, but there is a lovely little tribute to Godzilla in there, and I will say no more. But this film is just a set-up film, I'm afraid. No, even though I've been quite negative with this film, there are positive hidden gems in there of the potential of the film could have been. If you're a big fan of these sort of monster movie flicks and that, go see this film. You'll enjoy it. If you're a casual moviegoer, maybe you'll enjoy it. Maybe not. I don't know. And if you didn't like Godzilla, just don't go see this film, because, well, if you didn't like that, you're not going to like this. But the problem, I think, for films in general at the moment, like these ones, is the curse of Marvel in a way. That the problem is now with all these sort of big film franchises, they all want to set up these sort of cinematic universes, and they're rushing it. Marvel took time to construct their universe, and that's why it's paid off so well. DC have rushed it, and it's not paying off at the moment. Fingers crossed Wonder Woman does something, and I'm afraid this MonsterVerse one as well is rushing it. I'd rather they give a good, constructive build to this rather than rush it, but they just want to make a lot of money and create their own universe rather than good storytelling and good filmmaking. But to summarise, Kong Skull Island is not a bad film. I would give it a 6 out of 10. A 6 out of 10. I was hoping for better, but you can't have everything. So, my next video will hopefully come out sometime next week, and that will be of Logan, which I'm looking very much forward to seeing. So, what did you think of Kong Skull Island? Did you enjoy it, or were you a bit like me, in the middle, or a bit critical of it, or did you just hate the film in general? Tell me down in the comments section. I will see you very soon. Please like and subscribe. William Lewis out.